Hello everyone, hello. Thank you very much for attending this tasting, this Albéric Bichot presentation. It's tonight for us, but today for you. We thank you for being with us. We would have preferred to be physically with you, but being like this, it's better than nothing. Yep. First of all, let's introduce ourselves. Here you have Christophe Chauvel, more in charge of all the winemaking and the vineyards. He takes care of the vineyards. And Matthieu, our head winemaker. Both of you are with our family for more than 20 years. For you, more than almost 30 with Christophe. Thank you for being with us too. Probably most of you have already attended this virtual tasting. So for the newcomers, may I just explain to you where we are? So today we are in Beaune, in our, let's say, our family room, in our head office in Beaune, really in the heart of Burgundy. Today, compared to last year, it's not raining. The frost is not yet here, so we cross the fingers, but probably nothing will happen this year. What we propose you today is at first a short introduction to our winery for those who do not know our winery, for the newcomers, let's say. Then we will give you a short presentation of the 22 vintage with the most important characteristic. And then, of course, most important is to taste the wine with you. At the end of it's not a show, but at the end of the presentation, if we have time and if you want, we will be able to receive some of your questions. Maybe not all of them, but we will do our best. And we hope not to have a too boring tasting. This is the point for today. If it's okay for you, we hope you have good glasses. We hope you have the tank samples we send to you. Hoping you are comfortably in your armchair or anywhere you are. I see on the screen that tonight you are more than 200 guests to attend this presentation, so we are very happy to welcome you. You are from all over the US, I see. We have also the dream team of Albéric Bichot US with Jim and all yes, I don't see all the names, but the American team of Bichot is also with us tonight. Welcome to you all. Some words about our winery, about the Albéric Bichot family. We really started the wine production almost 2 centuries ago in 1831. You can see on the photo one of them with the black arm is my great-grandfather. His grandfather founded the winery. Just for you to know that. But most important, as it's almost impossible to summarize almost 2 centuries of history, most important is what we became, what we are today. Most important for us is to show you that we are wine growers at first. So here you have but you know it already, the map of Burgundy. It's just to tell you that we have the chance of covering almost the whole Burgundy, from the north in the Chablis region with one of our 6 estates with the Domaine Long-Depaquit. Then when we go a little bit on the south with la Côte de Nuit, we have the Domaine du Clos on the Château Gris. Domaine du Clos is only dedicated to red wines from la Côte de Nuit with a famous wine like Richebourg, Echezeaux, Grand Echezeaux, Clos de Vougeot, Grand Cru, and so on. Then in la Côte de Beaune with Domaine du Pavillon. Lucas, maybe you can put the... Yes, I didn't talk about Lucas. Lucas is our marketing manager, so he's in charge of the TV station today. So this is another map of Burgundy, but you can see this map on our website www.albertbichot.com, you can see all our different plots. So I was talking about the Domaine de la Côte de Beaune, Domaine du Pavillon, where we produce white and red with Meursault, Corton, Charlemagne, Volnay, Pommard, and so on. Then more in the south, it's the Domaine Adélie in La Côte Chalonnaise, more dedicated to Mercurey wines. And the last baby, the more recent baby, we will have one of them today, is Moulin-à-Vent Rochegrès for Domaine de Rochegrès. Besides our estate wines, as we are a négociant, traditional négociant, but in a new style négociant, if we compare the négociant today, we became with the past. In the past, we used to buy wines already made, and we bought the wine only for aging, but now we buy the grapes or we buy the must, and we take care of the wines as it is our own wines or own grapes, for sure. In terms of viticulture, we will be able to talk a little bit more during the tasting. Just to tell you that we started our, I can't say coming out, but we started to think about organic farming more than 20 years ago. In the early 2020s, we started on after almost 14 years of hardworking investment, mentality, revolutions, etc. We have been Europeanly certified with Evocelles label as the organic viticulture. More globally, of course, but it's not marketing, it's not just talk. We also started to think about sustainability, which is really, it's not a fashion, it's really in our philosophy, in our heart, in our blood. Luca showed you a photo of a horse. It's more and more important for us to protect nature, to protect the soil, to protect the subsoil, which are really the treasure of Burgundy. You know that the UNESCO have classified in 2015 all the climates, the different terroirs of Burgundy at the UNESCO patrimonial World Heritage. Merci. Thank you, Matthieu. So it means that the most important is what we have under our feet, of course. Luca, if you have any other image or photos about the ships, or you see, for example, we have firstly experimented the sheep in our vineyards. It was in January and February. We will talk about this experimentation later, but this is just to give you an idea that nothing is fixed, and if we really want to improve all the way of taking care of the vineyards, we have to experiment some new things. And one of them is our family sheep. We had 27 sheep in our vineyards during 1 month and a half. You see, just to eat the grass. But we will give you more details later if you agree. Luca, next, what do we have? Just another experimentation, interesting. You see this sailboat. It's a French sailboat that we have experimented 6 weeks ago. The boat left France for more than 3 weeks of transportation of wines from Brittany, from Saint-Malo in Brittany to New York. The boat just arrived, Luca, I think last week. So the first sail shipment have arrived, and we hope this experimentation will be very helpful for the future, helpful for investors, for startups to develop this kind of transportation. This is for the carbonic footprint, which is really, really more and more important for us, for the consumers, and for the planet too. this is the point for the very condensed history of what we are and what we want to continue to be. Let's start to talk with Matthieu, with the most important characteristics of the 22 vintage in Burgundy, from Chablis to the south. Was it a great year or a fantastic year?
Oh, it's difficult to choose between the two, but yeah, fantastic, I think. So, you know, in Bourgogne, of course, we love dealing with climat, and of course, climat is a combination of soil, a type of soil, the work of a man or of people, and of course, the weather conditions. So, I will describe a little bit what's going on and what has been our vintage 2022 on the weather side. So the first thing, it's been a real relief after 2021, where we had a massive frost and we lost most of the crops. So 2022 is back to something more classic with a more normal type of yields, and so we went back to smiles to all the faces. It started quite cold, so the winter was with a little bit of frost, which is not a problem at this step, allowing the soil to be broken and fractioned by the frost. February went much warmer, so at the time we feared to have a 2021 scenario with the birds going out, but we went back to a March very, very cold and much cooler, so this slowed everything down. And the few nights of frost that came at the beginning of April didn't create any damage. The late pruning techniques, of course, the much cooler March combined to the growth stage that was not as not a lot of leaves were out at this, bud break didn't occur, so there were no damages with the frost at this period. May and June that have followed were absolutely hot and dry, and May has been the hottest May ever since we've got weather records in France. So a few records have been set in terms of temperature, in terms of also dry condition. Followed by June with some heat waves that led to a little bit of hail and massive rain at the end of June. So it's been very local rainfall with a little bit of hail, especially in Mâcon in some areas, a little bit in Nuits-Saint-Georges, as well as a little bit in Chablis. But this didn't really affect the potential of our estates, so everything went well on this. July and August were also very, very hot and very, very dry. We recorded minus 60% in terms of rainfall during this period. So again, it's been very, very warm, following vintages like 18, 19, and 20. And the summer of 2022 is the second hottest summer after 2023. If we summarize, it's been the hottest, sunniest, and driest vintage ever if you look at the overall year with this vintage 2022.
But did it affect the...
Well, that's the next point. If you compare this vintage to, for example, 20, this is where we see that the same beginning, the same trigger that don't lead to the same consequences. So in terms of maturation, it went much slower with, of course, lack of water, but with a very nice amount of water at very specific steps that really gives something different on the polyphenolic side, for example. So if you remember the 2020s, they're very black with very strong tannins, with absolutely big structure. That's not the case for the 2022, and you'll see how, so the little bit of weather, especially at the end of July, we had a bit of rain, that really allowed to ripen and start the ripening. The resin started very slowly. And so the 2022 are from a warm vintage, ripe, but not with the massive structure we could have on the 2020. So you'll see much more refinement, beautiful sense of place despite the warm weather. The polyphenolic are nice with tannins, with some silky character. So It's been a very big surprise for us to see the difference between the weather condition and what we could expect from this vintage in terms of ripening process. But of course, it's high maturities, but you'll see we've got freshness, we've got refinement, we've got delicacy. Of course, it's not 2021, which is much cooler, but you're back to something very, very juicy, very, very, very crispy.
The grapes, in terms of sanitary conditions, in terms of sorting.
Yeah, we're perfect. So maybe we could sort and remove a little bit of dried fruit, some very locally, but we didn't suffer really from that. So it was absolutely perfect. We began picking at the end of August, so 18th of August for the Crémant side. Then we moved in Moulin-à-Vent the 25th of August, and then the Domaine from Côte de Beaune, Côte de Nuit started the 13th of August, Chablis coming just after the 1st of September. So again, a very nice vintage, very warm overall situation, but you'll see the delicacy and the beautiful acidity we've got in the white and the nice silky character we have in the red. So a very good surprise. If it's not a surprise, it's also a lot of work. Maybe we will come back to this. Things triggers we moved to an adjustment we did during the year and especially during the vinification process to take care of those grapes in terms of on winemaking and to express the best freshness from them. So let's
start.
Yeah.
So the first one is Pouilly-Fuissé, premier cru au quart.
Pouilly-Fuissé, premier cru au quart.
Au quart. Voilà. C'est presque pour les marins, ça. So,
Pouilly-Fuissé, premier cru, it's quite new, it's relatively new in Burgundy. Huh?
Yes, it was after more than 14 years, people study some place where they think they can have premier cru to make difference with other place. And it was a big job, long job, but serious job. And at the end, they proposed 22 climats different, which is nearly the quarter from all Pouilly-Fuissé.
Right. 25% of the Pouilly-Fuissé are now in premier cru.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And different premier cru, mainly in the center of Pouilly-Fuissé area. Okay. And I think it's a kind of, when you talk about the soil from that wine, it looks like a lot with some place in Côte d'Or, with the subsoil, the kind of soil, limestone and clay, and very well exposition. That most of the time we have very powerful and very round wine, but you can have a lot of finesse too. And I think if you tasted that wine, it's to sum up my feeling, if I have to choose some word, I would say ripeness, powerful but with finesse, elegant aromas, precise and pure, very long in the mouth, and the finale is a little bit salty, but it gives you a certain length. That is, I appreciate as Matthieu said, 2022 was a wonderful vintage, I think, especially for red and white. It's not always the case each year. Red and white, very, for me, homogene, very gourmand, precise, not so powerful like 2020, that's true, but I think perhaps more agreeable to drink sometimes today than the 2020. And I expect with to age it.
And this specific premier cru named Au Quart is really at the south part of the Pouilly-Fuissé area.
Exactly.
So it means, does it mean you have more sun? Does it mean something in particular?
No, I don't think so, because you have some premier cru which are located near, for example, Solutré, Roche de Solutré, famous place, well known in Burgundy. And what is very important is mainly the exposition and the kind of slope. And most of the time, a small slope. That is important.
Yes.
So that's good to start with this, as we're going to move from the Pouilly-Fuissé area, where we've got the sunniest places, especially on this Premier Cru, which is east facing, so that sees the sun in the morning. But still, it remains a region where you've got a rich, quite rich expression, open fruit and fruit driven. And compared to Chablis, so we are now heading to Chablis with Chablis Premier Cru Fourchaume. So Chablis, as you remember, is 1.5 hour drive north of Beaune. And again with clay and chalky soils, like the rest of Burgundy, except the Beaujolais area, of course. But with very specific stones here, very specific little oysters that are called Kimmeridgian stones. So those stones combine to a little bit cooler weather condition, of course, compared to Côte de Beaune and especially the Mâconnais, will give to the Chardonnay those very specific taste. Flintiness, iodine character. We also deal with tension, with a bit more acidity, crispiness. So this is the way we're going to qualify that kind of wine. Fourchaume is on the Premier Cru level. Again, you remember in Chablis, 4 different levels of appellation with Petit Chablis, then Chablis Premier Cru, and Chablis Grand Cru, which is at the top of the pyramid. And this is a wine from the Premier Cru level. Chablis is divided into 2 parts. The river Serein cuts Chablis into 2 parts. And this Premier Cru Fourchaume is on the right bank of the river, the one you're going to find also the Grand Cru and several beautiful Premier Cru.
All the Grand Cru are on the right.
Yes, same
of
area
the river.
and right bank of the river. So just next to you have those Fourchaume, which is a quite large area, southwest facing. So in this case, the sun lights this plot almost the whole day, but especially during the afternoon, where it's the warmest, the hottest. And so generally speaking, the Fourchaume compared to other Premier Cru in Chablis, I've got a bit more roundness, a smooth character, a quite sensual texture on the mouth due to those weather condition and especially the exposure that it has. So you'll find some nice expression on this vintage of fruit. So it's at this stage it's still very fruit driven. You've got a bit of peach aroma. You've got also a little bit of pear. Of course, just behind you have those hints of iodine character, of salinity that are just behind, maybe still a little bit hidden due to the nice expression of the vintage, but just behind, and they will tend to appear and to show while aging.
In terms of barrel fermentation or barrel aging, can you explain, Matthieu, what is really our motto, our philosophy for the Chablis wines?
Yeah, so the target, of course, like all the rest of the climat we work with at Albéric Bichot, is to focus on the climat itself and to reveal what the sense of place of all the different climat, and especially in Chablis, the mineral character, the iodine, the saltiness we may expect from a Chablis is very sensitive or can be destroyed by too much oak. So we have made the choice to have a mainly tongue fermentation. So it's mainly stainless steel tongue fermentation and a little bit of oak. It could be between 25 up to 35% of oak fermentation, but only we use barrel. So again,
3 to 5 years old.
3 to 5 years old and 9 months in oak, not more than that, to really help the minerality, support it, but never hide it.
I think that is very funny to think that with Chardonnay grapes, you have in Chablis or the previous wine we tasted with Pouilly-Fuissé, completely different. And I used to say that in Chablis you have some aromas with the Chardonnay we are not able to have in Côte d'Or.
No.
Completely, it's impossible. It's very specific.
And I can add, even if in a warm vintage, so
Yes.
the way we farm, the way we also take care, you have a quite big difference between Mâcon, of course Côte de Beaune, and Chablis that really stays apart. And that's why we really love Chablis, and especially in warmer vintages. The next wine is...
We move to the Chablis Grand Cru, Les
Les
Clos,
Clos.
one of the 7 or 8 Grand Cru?
8 Grand Cru, of course, the first one being La Moutonne.
Why not?
And this is a wine, in this case, from Domaine Long-Depaquit, which is our estate in Chablis. 60 hectares big, a beautiful estate located in the center of Chablis that has a quite large area with Chablis, regular Chablis, but also more than 15 hectares of Chablis Premier Cru, as well as 10 hectares of Chablis Grand Cru. So Domaine Long-Depaquit and Albéric Bichot family is one of the biggest owner in the Chablis Grand Cru area. And this Grand Cru Les Clos is one of the 6 Grand Cru we farm at Domaine Long-Depaquit. Les Clos is the largest largest Grand Cru in Chablis with 25 hectares, which is a quarter of the entire Grand Cru area. Just to give you an idea, the Grand Cru in Chablis are only 2% of the entire area covered by the vineyard in Chablis, so it's really a limited production. Again, this Grand Cru Les Clos is on very nice slopes, southwest facing, and you may find and you will find a lot of Kimmeridgian stone in this area. It's very poor. We've got 2 plots, one in the center of Les Clos that will give something with a lot of richness, especially with the southwest exposure and the sun of the afternoon, and another plot which is really at the top of Les Clos, just next to the trees, more protected by the wind, and this will bring more tension, more acidity, and also more minerality. So that's the case, and especially for this 2022 vintage, which is much warmer. Mm-hmm. We've got expression of bold, of opulent, of roundness, and of course again it's a little bit fruit driven today. We've got a little bit more oak treatment on the Chablis Grand Cru in order to really to support the minerality and to make it ready for the long distance, because that's the target of these wines, to be able to be drunk quite quickly, but also to be able to age and express beautiful aromas of minerality.
Well, if we compare with the Fourchaume, the Grand Cru you have a higher density.
Yeah.
It's more concentrated.
Yeah, quite concentration. Mm-hmm. You've got fantastic complexity on the nose. Mm-hmm. You've got this length, and it's got always this kind of sweet or almost sensual texture on the tongue, but with the acidity at the back. So that's really a key description for Chablis, and we have it today. This richness, but also the freshness on behind.
Yeah, appreciate it a lot.
Great. Christophe, let's go.
Yes. For the first red is Rochegrès, so Moulin-à-Vent from Domaine de Rochegrès. I think it's a pleasure to talk about Beaujolais, because here in Côte we talk about Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and here we have to talk about Gamay, a kind of soil which is completely different. It's more an acid soil, and here we're in basic soil. The country is so different with the valley, etc. People are very pleasant too. And to try to discover this area, not only through Beaujolais Nouveau, but it's a cru. And I think it's a good way to show you that with Beaujolais, you can age it like a cru from the Côte, in some Morgon, Moulin-à-Vent, and sometimes after many years, you forget it's come from Beaujolais. And with blind tasting, you can be very surprised. So that, I think it's not only on the fruit. Okay, so many things you can have with the Gamay. So the Gamay, when you vinify it, you have to take care. It's not like the Pinot. You have to take care. The skin of the Gamay is different. So when you practice pigeage, you have to practice less. You must be more delicate with the Gamay than the Pinot, especially when the Gamay is very ripe. You have to, and you have to try to extract one thing of the Gamay, which is very important. You have it in Pinot, but perhaps more in Gamay. It's the fruit. You bite in the fruit. Yeah.
Really, we see the color. It's almost dark color, huh? Even for a Gamay, because the vintage
Yeah, it was
Helps.
yes, it helps for the color, and in general, if the skin is very thin, etc., the anthocyane, the color goes. We can extract it very quickly and easily.
And sorry, Christophe, so Beaujolais is very well known for easy drinking wine, packed with fruit, that are usually drunk quite quickly. But we truly believe that Beaujolais can produce fantastic wines that have the shape and sometimes the quality of some Pinot Noir. So that's why we really started to work with this Domaine de Rochegrès and that the family did this purchase because we truly believe in this area. The Pinot, the Gamay can age, and we've got a beautiful example in the cellar. It can really develop some beautiful aromas.
It can age, but it can be drunk.
It can be drunk. That's the two sides of the.
It's not a crime to drink it today.
Yes.
Huh?
And we changed a little bit the winemaking in order to go away from the very fruit-driven character. So of course it has the fruitiness of the Gamay, but also we do some destemming and also some longer maceration to gain in silkiness, to gain in structure, in order to be able to age it. So it's a fantastic wine, and at a very affordable price. And we really want to promote this Rochegrès as it's an interesting alternative to open our minds, but also for the quality.
Yes, I put some words to explain what I feel about this Rochegrès 22. I will say red fruit, bit spicy, structure with very soft and sweet tannins. We have tannins, we have structure, but
very round,
exactly,
silky.
No aggressivity, very. And what I appreciate a lot, and the most, you have complexity, and more and more you keep in your mouth, more the complexity increase. You have to wait. It's not only the fruit, okay, pleasant, gourmand vin, but after you have many things, and you have to wait.
Yeah,
it's a great wine of Beaujolais. Congratulations.
It's very good. It's got some licorice taste, and also nice freshness for the vintage. Again, we have it here. It's got some crispiness, as well as this body, this roundness. That's beautiful.
Matthieu, let's go to
moving
to the north.
To the north.
Mercurey. Not Mercury, but Mercurey.
So Mercurey. In Domaine Adélie, which is another estate of Albéric Bichot, and Mercurey is in Côte-Chalonnaise, so 25 minutes south of Beaune. Mercurey, Domaine Adélie produce some red wines and white wines. So today we are testing one of the red wine, which is Milley. It's a straight village level wine. So beside this Mercurey Milley, we produce some Premier Cru Chambertin, as well as a beautiful white, which is Champ-Michaud. So maybe it's going to be for the next time. Mercurey is very well known for, of course, the Pinot and the Chardonnay, but the expression there of the red wine are usually flower, red fruit. It's got some herbal notes in the noble sense of meaning, and that's the case. That's the case here today. Despite the warmer condition I've described, you've got this herbal character that gives some tension, beautiful and lovely red fruit characters that are very, very nice. Milley is a quite large section of vineyard that maybe you can see on the screen, which can be also protected from the sun, partly during the day. So this really managed to keep the freshness, to keep the fruit at a very nice level, even in warmer conditions, and also to polish a little bit the tannins. So it's a very nice village level Mercurey.
Everything is done by hand. There is no machine. It's hand picking for the harvest.
Yes, exactly.
Hand picked, of course, organic farming.
Yes.
And you see You could be afraid, or maybe you could guess you could have some dried fruit character with this vintage. That's not the case. You've got peony, you've got violet, so it's really flower driven. And again, the structure is nice without rough tannins. It remains very easy on the palate. So a very good example of what could give the Pinot as an introduction. Mercurey, we usually harvest it at the end, tends to take a bit more time, so gives very good result in this vintage.
Yes, and when you, Matthieu, you talk about the hot vintage, but I am impressed by the freshness, even in the aromas, in the mouth. Oh, it's very punchy and very...
Yeah, it's crispy.
Crispy, it is, yes. It's not too fat, it's not too...
Yeah.
You have life in the wine, I think.
And we speak of drinkability, that's the case.
Exactly.
With this wine.
The drinkability of the wine. What does it mean? Most of the time we say drinkability is when you have a glass, you want another glass. Drinkability, sapidity, when your tongue is excited.
Yeah. But we are entering the territory of the Burgundy wines. You can have a few glasses or even a few bottles, one after the other, without being tired. So that's drinkability.
That is not too much too. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We have to take care. So next wine we are now in Côte-de-Beaune, and a village which is called Chorey-Les-Beaune. So if you look at the map on Côte d'Or, and so you go from the south to the north, most of the time on the right side of the mainly route we have to go to Dijon, you have regional appellation, and you have two mainly exceptions. You have the village of Gevrey-Chambertin, when you can find Gevrey village on the right side, and you have Chorey too. And it was, to explain that, it's because it's a geological phenomenon and a historical phenomenon with the influence of some valley or some river.
Okay.
And so it gives a special soil which can produce perhaps something which is higher than a regional appellation. That's why, if you look at the map, it's not a mistake to have some village on the right side of the road. It's geological reason. Okay. So, Chorey is most of the soil are very, perhaps deep, in fact. A lot of clay, but many pebbles, and so it gives you a wine which is, if I compare with the Mercurey we tasted before, I think it looks like more heavy structure. You feel more the clay, the impact of the clay, but it's punchy. Perhaps it's not so long like the Mercurey, but I think you have the fruit, you bite, it's well balanced. Nothing is perturbed, can make you a problem. I think it's well, that is the balance I appreciate a lot in that wine.
Chorey-Les-Beaune is one of the raising wine in Burgundy. And we really started to produce Chorey-Les-Beaune 15, 20 years ago with some experimentation. And the more we produce the Chorey, we can say the more we like the style of Chorey.
Yeah.
It's different from Savigny-Les-Beaune, it's different from Corton.
Yeah.
It's probably more approachable, more affordable, of course, in terms of
it's less well known
of dollar, yes.
Yeah.
And it's important, it's not a shame for us to talk about capacity of buying the wine. And Chorey-Les-Beaune is a very good step between the regional level, Bourgogne Pinot Noir, and some more high-class village, higher recognition, or so it's a very good value for what you can pay.
Yes, and I think I have to use another time the word gourmand. I like it. It's gourmand.
Yeah, and you said it's got a beautiful balance. It's got some roundness, but it's not heavy. And yeah, it's like biting into a fruit. That's the case again here. So very nice.
that's it for the Chorey.
Yeah, let's
We
move.
stay in la Côte de Beaune with the Beaune, huh?
Yes, with
Le
Beaune,
Beaune
Clos de
Clos
l'Hermitage.
de l'Hermitage.
So where is my Beaune Clos de l'Hermitage? So we are in the Beaune area, which is a quite large area, just next to Beaune, on the slopes that are east-facing, just west of Beaune. It's a quite large section with nearly 400 hectares, divided in a lot of climats, with quite a lot of premier cru in this area. Most of the production is, of course, is Pinot Noir, it's red wine, but you've got some sections like Beaune Premier Cru Clos des Mouches, for example, from Domaine du Pavillon that we do farm that produce a fantastic white wine. So in this case, we are at Montagne Saint-Désiré, which is really at the upper section of the Beaune area on the southern part. And here the altitude reaches 320, 330 meters versus 210 or 220 at the bottom section of Montagne Saint-Désiré.
So you mean that 100 or 150 meters difference in altitude, it can make a big difference because of the wind, because of
of the temperature regime, of course, of sometimes in the weather condition. It could be some difference also with the fog or sun exposure, and this is combined to the type of soil we have here. The bottom part will have more clay and quite a lot of stones and pieces of chalk, but the Clos de l'Hermitage is really on the bedrock. So if you go there, you will really walk on very flat surfaces of limestone. So the roots are very, very close to the bedrock, giving very poor soils and also very high percentages of limestone. So this combined,
it gives a elegance, complexity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So very refined. It's more tension, more acidity. You're not on something very bold with a lot of structure, but something more on the refinement and with hints of minerality. Also, it's strange sometimes to say that from a Pinot Noir, but that's the case. You've got hints of sometimes of iodine, of smells of wet stones. That's really coming from the combination of this altitude as well as a type of soil.
For example, you talk about stone, you can find what we call in Burgundy mergé, and you have plenty of mergé near Beaune, Clos de l'Hermitage, because you are on the rock. And each time when you plow, you have some stone, they go up, you have to take and you put it and you make.
And we build a mergé. It's a kind of a little mountain of rocks.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yes.
So
it's typically from the Climat and Beaune Hermitage.
Yeah, and so it's interesting to compare it, for example, with the Chorey we just had previously. Chorey had this fruit-driven, quite fresh fruit character. And here you've got hints of, again, the licorice, a little bit of mint as well. You've got something that make a kind of spark. You've got this energy that we feel in this glass. It's more on the floral, just again a little bit of on the herbal character that gives a very nice inspiration of freshness to this wine.
I would say if you have to compare both, I would say Chorey, you have to imagine a sphere, and Beaune Hermitage, a line. Okay, it's completely different. The structure, the approach is different. The pleasure is different, but we have pleasure with both, but in a different manner.
And let's compare also with the Savigny-Les-Beaune.
Savigny.
So you will have a kind of great spectrum, Chorey-Les-Beaune, Beaune Premier, Beaune, and Savigny-Les-Beaune. It's a kind of triangle with, let's say, three different shapes, three different styles.
Yes, it's different history and geological. It's here, it's un premier cru, les Peuillets, which is So in Savigny,
In Savigny, there is no Grand Cru. It's
No,
only
no, exactly.
village level on Premier Cru.
exactly. But in Savigny, you have a big choice of many things which are different. Difficult to say what is a Savigny, in fact, because you have to consider the influence of different combes and valleys, from Bouillon, from Chevron, for example. You have the influence of a river, which is called Le Rouen. So different kind of soil, different influence of a combe, which is very important. And you can say, yes, different exposition too, in a valley. So Les Peuillets is more influenced by the river Le Rouen, because it deposits many things, or you have more sandy, it's more, not completely sandy, but you have more sand and more pebbles, and it's a very dry soil, in fact. So when we talk about the climate change and dryness, etc., you have to take care in this area when you have dryness, because the soil is not able to keep the water very easily. So, but it gives you, I'm very fond of this area. We practice, it's not from the domain, okay? It's from vineyards we have to harvest ourselves. And it's, each time it's a mix of not a very punchy wine, but elegant, long. You have many things to talk about, I think. And for the aromas, many things for the aromas, not only the Pinot, because never forget, I think, when the wine is young, like 2022, when we talk about aromas, never forget the aromas of the Pinot first, before to talk about red or black fruit, etc. But I think you have many other red fruit inside. And I think not only some forest, some mushrooms, some things like that. So it gives you more, it's a Premier Cru, never forget it. If we compare with the other wine, which are village, here is a Premier Cru. And I think it gives you more complexity.
Just all the fresh forest, la mousse.
La mousse, yeah.
La mousse,
But
little not smoking, but a little bit.
yeah, we talk about freshness.
Freshness, fresh mushrooms.
Each time with different wine, with a hot vintage, we talk about freshness. That's why I appreciate it.
I think it's again another good example of what we can source and the work we do to find very good Pinot within Burgundy with really affordable prices. So we dealt with Chorey-Les-Beaune, but Savigny also shows beautiful wine at very affordable prices. It could be the case of Centenaire as well, where you've got beautiful, absolute beautiful wines with very good price-quality ratio. This is a Premier Cru, so you have a quality of a fantastic Pinot in a Premier Cru level, but again at a very nice price. Really like this one.
Drinkable, but you have to wait.
Not too long.
Not too long.
Okay.
Matthieu, let's go to the Côte de Nuit, to one of the most emblematic wine, the Gevrey-Chambertin,
Gevrey-Chambertin.
at a very specific plot named Les Evocelles.
Les Evocelles, yeah. So Gevrey-Chambertin, you know, north of Côte de Nuit, which is the largest village in terms of vineyards. So of course, you've got the 9 Grand Crus, so the 9 Grand Crus of Gevrey-Chambertin that are very well known, and that we also farm some of them. But also a beautiful set of Premier Cru as well as some village level appellation. So that's the case for this Gevrey-Chambertin Les Evocelles, which got a very specific location. If you look at the map, it's really between 2 places with Premier Cru. So it's the same area, really at the upper section of Gevrey, just next to Premier Cru Champeau, which itself touches Premier Cru Castier. And on the northern side, you are touching Fissin with also another set of very nice Premier Cru Clos de la Perrière, as well as Clos du Chapitre. So maybe you may ask, why is this plot not in Premier Cru? I don't really know, because if you look at the line, everything in between is, or next to is Premier Cru. It's really at the upper section. Again, it's 330, 350 meters high. So the ripeness comes a bit later. And again, we wanted to focus on this vintage, on that kind of wine, with more freshness, with more tension, with more elegance on the fruit.
Yeah. Yes. As I said, with Savigny, impossible to say what is exactly is a Savigny because they are so different. Gevrey-Chambertin is the same. If you take Gevrey from La Justice, from the Muro on the right side, if you take Gevrey-Clos, if you take Gevrey from near Le Comble-Lavaux, if you take Gevrey from Les Evocelles, so many different things, so many different soils, so many different conditions, so many different wine, so many different Gevrey.
Yeah, and this is really our task, our passion,
Yeah.
our target to reveal
They will discover.
each, even if it's a small plot,
Yeah.
but frankly speaking, truly speaking, the soil is really the base of everything in
Exactly.
Burgundy.
And we have to-
You know that already, but it's very interesting, even in young wines like today, to see the differences.
Yes. And sometimes you don't expect something from that plot, but you know you can expect from that plot, etc. It's different. So it's logical.
Yeah.
We have to respect the soil.
And again, I think it's a good example. Now we are nearly at the end, but it's a good example of what we did during this vintage to catch the best part and the best freshness and the best fruit part of the grapes. Of course, date of harvest is really important, and it's been the case again here to start at the right time. Of course, for the beginning, but also for the end of the harvest, you have to think global. When shall you start, but also when will you end, and how the evolution of the maturation will go. Sorting was, we said, not that important, but still, if we had some dried fruit, we had to remove them to avoid having some too much herbal notes.
Yes.
Or to dried character. Of course, cold soaking is important. We are still using it, and a bit more in a warmer vintages like this to extract the best fruitiness and as fresh as possible the fruit that could be coming from the grapes themselves. And we also used a bit more whole bunch during the maceration to. Not really increase the acidity itself, because it's not technically increasing the acidity, but the sensation of freshness you get up from the whole bunch. Of
But
course,
we can say there is no recipe, we have no religion. Each vintage is different.
yeah.
Each wine is
different.
Yeah.
For example, with Les Evocelles, in terms of whole bunch, do we have to distem? Yes, no, only 10%, 100%. It's really on the sorting table. You can say this. I keep the stem. This I distem.
It's ripe enough.
It's really
They-
empiric, like
yes,
we say in French.
when we talk about freshness, we never talk about something which is vegetable.
The vegetal,
green
the
architecture, yeah.
greenness.
Yes, you can say green is fresh. No, it's not agreeable. It's not a good freshness.
But again, yes, we knew we wanted to in this vintage, the first days of harvest, we wanted to increase a little bit the amount of whole bunch, but it's decided step by step and plot by plot, and to see if we can reach this target. But it's still interesting to see how the freshness is managed and how beautiful the wines are compared to the weather condition.
Exactly.
Christophe, we go to the Grand Cru
Yes.
of today, of tonight.
Yes. So we come back in Côte-de-Beaune, but in the area of Allos-Corton. Allos-Corton, I can think it's the border mix between Côte de Nuit and Côte-de-Beaune, the beginning of the Côte-de-Beaune. And Corton Clos des Maréchaudes, it's a wine I'm very fond of, and I'm in love with it, because first, it's unique. In a clos, in 2 hectares, you have 2 levels of appellation. And you have in one part a quarter which is Corton, Grand Cru, and the 3 quarters are Allos Premier Cru, Clos des Maréchaudes. It's a monopole, okay, because we are really the only owner. And when I am with some people who want to visit this area, always choose this area to show them and to explain what, when we talk about climat, level, different appellation, inside the Clos, you can see it only with your eyes. You can understand if you have the slope, which is different, which the exposition is different. If you know, when you plow, you know that the soil is more deep in one part than the other. You have, because we know the job is the same, the plants are the same age, the yield are the same. The job is always the same in the vineyard, in the vinification, and we have two different wines. And I can explain. Yes, you taste that wine. And the Corton Clos des Maréchaudes is a very sunny and very precoce area. In fact, we don't have a big yield, in fact, inside, perhaps good concentration. And it's a mix of the richness of the clay, because big quantity of clay, even if the soil is not very deep, because after 40 centimeters you have a rock, and the rock is a special rock from Corton, special color, special...
It's a kind of a marble.
Exactly, yeah. Some, most of the time pink, and it gives you a mix of what the nature can give you through the clay and the rock. That is more.
Corton, sometimes they can have a lack of finesse or elegance, but as the Clos des Maréchaudes is really, like you say, really in the sun, in terms of maturity, is one of the first where we pick the grapes.
Yes, exactly. Because after you have Bressan, Clos du Roi, which are a little bit higher, so we have to harvest it earlier. But when I say earlier, it could be 3 or 4 days, but it could be huge in some vintage. And I think you can have powerful with that wine, but with elegance. When you have something which is punchy, sometimes you have some wines which are very punchy, but you can say the word elegance. You can say the word finesse. No, here you can.
No, the tannins are very supple, round. Here again we have a great density, but it's not heavy. It's not heavy at all. It's not too powerful. For a Corton, it's really congratulations.
Refinement, yeah.
I think I will wait 10 years more to drink it.
Do you have
to
time?
compare?
I can't.
If I have some bottle, yeah.
Impossible. Too much friends.
Well, that's it for the tasting. I hope you enjoyed the wines with us. Probably and I hope you will have your own feelings. Here we have our own feelings too. It depends on many things, but it was interesting for us to introduce you the specificities of this 22 vintage in the Albéric Bichot style. Something important. So I'm asking Luca if we have 5, 6, 10 minutes. Did you receive some questions already during the presentation?
When do you expect to convert your vineyards in Chablis and Beaujolais to fully organic?
For those who didn't catch, we have converted all our domains in organic farming, as you know, but we took more time in Chablis, Domaine Long-Depaquit.
Chablis,
so it's on the way and it should be done.
2025 is going to be the first vintage released organic. So you know, in France, transition to organic farming takes 3 years. So you have to show that you did officially 3 years of organic farming before being organic. So of course we started a few years ago, but the official transitions started 2 years ago. So the first vintage organic is going to be 2025. Yes. So Long-Depaquit is very big, with a lot of slopes. That needs more
very
time.
Steepy slopes.
Steepy slopes.
We had to find the good materials, very small
caterpillars,
hand caterpillars,
to be able to go. So it's really on its way, and it's a big challenge. And the last stage to be converted will be Domaine de Rochegrès, it's going to be soon on its way. Again, very, very high densities. It needs to be a little bit replanted and a few adjustments to make it ready, but it's on
and
its way.
we know it's difficult, mainly in the heart of Domaine de Rochegrès, in Rochegrès, where we have vines which are more than 100 years old.
Yeah.
So,
So step by step, and we don't want to also to disturb and replant everything in Rochegrès that could really destroy what we are doing today. So step by step, we're going to go and work on Rochegrès to gradually go to the organic conversion.
Thank you.
But
The most difficult thing in organic production is to manage the soil. That is the most difficult, especially if you are on big slope, if you are on more sandy soil, etc. So that's why we need time to prepare. That we made in the past. Yes, before to be organic.
Lucas?
How was winemaking changed in the last 10, 20 years to overcome climate change?
Climate changes on the way of taking care of the vineyards. What? How are we adapting to
yes,
this
in
new-
the vineyard, when we say climate change, to sum up, we talk about many things which are not new, but which are more intense and more often. So you can have dryness, you can have wetness too, you can have many things. So we have to adapt. That is the word. We look for everything which helps us to adapt. When we have dryness, I think the most important thing is to work about the vegetal, the rootstock, the kind of plants, to manage the canopy perhaps in a different way, to find a way to reduce the plants needs water, if we can. And that's why I think organic thing is not bad for that, but not necessary for the young plants. The young plants, they have to learn. Okay, that's like the children. Okay, that is in the vineyard.
And on the winemaking, I mentioned a few things. Of course, the dates of picking have been adjusted. We are also trying the picking day to spend less time during harvest. Previously, we could take more than 2 weeks to pick everything. We try to reduce this to really pick each plot at the right step. So it's been a big change. And of course, also the winemaking technique we mentioned with maybe less punching, more pump overs. Also all the cold soaking and all the wall bunch. This is a few things we have adjusted. Also, we have to mention all the aging process in terms of selection of barrels, time and length of stay in barrel and everything. Every day we make some little adjustment to reach and to cope with this.
Yes,
But the first thing is going to be, of course, the vineyard and what we plant, and we made some decision recently for what we are planting for the next coming 40 years.
Great. Lucas, another question?
Why the Pouilly-Fuissé Premier Cru is more expensive than the Chablis Fourchaume Premier Cru? Eduardo Medina asked.
Eduardo asked a question about price between the Pouilly-Fuissé Premier Cru and the Chablis Premier Cru.
Yes, we can answer by the size. If you look at the maps, the size of Fourchaume is much bigger. It should be maybe 10 times Pouilly-Fuissé Premier Cru au Quarts. So if you look at the size and the number of bottles that could be produced from one area to the other, it's totally different. So they made a good job in Pouilly-Fuissé to choose all the different Premier Cru, and it's quite small indeed. And we are,
and it's true for the Premier Cru, but it's true also for the village level.
As well,
A regular Chablis compared to a regular Pouilly-Fuissé. Normally you have the price difference.
Absolutely. We can give figures. Village Pouilly-Fuissé, it's 600 hectares, and village Chablis, it's nearly 4,000 hectares. So of course you've got difference of prices. And we are very lucky to have 2 different Premier Cru in Pouilly. It's been a big process to be able to get this grab. So we are very happy. So here comes the price difference.
Lucas?
Sherry Sirna asked, you noted changing your vinification styles to preserve freshness multiple times. Do you expect these changes to increase with climate change?
How to keep the fruit,
The freshness.
if we understand well sherry, so how to keep the freshness with warmer climate, warmer conditions, when we pick the grapes, higher alcoholic level,
Yeah.
sugar level,
yeah.
how to keep the freshness or the fruitiness,
Yes,
both of them.
That's again the question of what we plant is key now, and maybe it's a bit new for us, but today we are already thinking to what we're going to plant, and some selections that used to have been set away and not used anymore because they were ripening too late are coming back in the forefront. So that's one of the main thing we are using. So of course. We will not change the whole vineyard in 1 year, so that's one of the big answer. And after comes all the the pre-fermentation process, sorting of course, destemming or not, all the aspects of cold soaking and the pre-extraction and everything that occurs prior to the fermentation. Also the temperature of maceration makes a difference. So we are working on this to keep the wine as fresh as possible. Also stepping back, we can say stepping back when it's necessary and shorten a little bit the length of aging, or going through glass systems or things that are not wood, made of wood, to really keep the freshness and the fruit. So every year, as a set of new things, we are very, very little adjustments that makes a difference.
Yes, and I could add that globally in Burgundy we have a kind of a research board which brings all together all the producers who wants to find some solution for the next generations or the next decades. And it's very true that one of the most challenging optimist prospection is how we can find the best rootstock and the best plants.
Yes.
It will take 20, 50 years, but don't be be assured that before the Romanée Conti will plant Syrahs in La Tâche, it will take time.
Yeah.
And maybe the last question, because we don't want to keep you so late.
Then ask how many monopole vineyards are in the Bichot portfolio?
How many monopoles, exclusive wine we have in our portfolio? Good question. I think there are six monopoles, including in Chablis the famous La Moutonne, the Clos des Maréchaudes that we had in Corton, Grand Cru level on Premier Cru level. Then we have the Clos des Ursulines in Pommard, the wine we have tasted last year in the same conditions. Then we have the Château Gris in Nuit Saint-Georges, very exclusive Château Gris for both red Pinot and also a little bit of white. One is missing, and the Le Rochegrès. It's a kind of monopole.
Yes.
Let's say like
this. If we want. Okay.
Other question from Sherry. Specifically, you mentioned using pump over versus punch down and handling skins. How does climate and vintage affect this?
So pump over or
Punch down.
Yeah. If you've got a 2020 is a good example. If you've got a very, very ripe vintage with a very high concentration of polyphenolics, if you are using a technique that will destroy the skins and be too much stronger with the skins, you're going to extract too much. Whereas, so that could be the case with, for example, the punching. If you are not taking care, you can extract too much. You can break the pips or really extract too much tannic components. Whereas if you reduce the amount of punching or also combining punching and pump over, Pump over is more, you know, draining the juice from the bottom to the top. So it's more something more I could say more respecting more the skins themselves.
Yeah,
so the extraction is much slower.
Mm.
So this is a way the winemaker is gonna adapt itself.
Mm.
So he has to taste, he has to assess also the quality of the grapes when they just come in. So he cannot make his decision at the end of the vinification process. So he has to have a very clear view of what's going on and the potential of the harvest. So of course, tasting occurs every day during the winemaking period, and this is where the winemaker has to adjust. So
Yes.
this is how we play, and again, we have no rule with that, except that we, again, some people will use, for example, 100% whole bunch. We don't have that kind of, you know, ID, and again, it's the idea is to adapt ourselves.
Okay, so for us, these 45 minutes, no, 1 hour and 15 minutes, it was like 5 minutes. I hope you enjoy, you appreciate the wine, you probably you learned a little bit more about the Burgundy wines, or
Oh, we learn every day. No?
and we learn every day.
Yeah.
On each vintage is a new
Yes, exactly.
page to write, a new book to open.
Yes, exactly.
Now, thank you so much for having for attending this this very special. I can't say an event, but the being together. Thank you for following Burgundy, Albéric Bichot wines. We do hope one day if we can welcome you in our cellars, in our vineyards. All of us, the Burgundy team of Bichot, we are here. Sometimes we can go and see you all over the US in addition to our American team, let's say like this. So thank you so much. We wish you a very good day. Enjoy life. We love you as you love Burgundy.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.